Good morning, everyone. If we haven't met yet, my name is Tara, and it is currently my second year here at Appleby. I'm not going to lie, I've been scared for this day ever since I found out I had to do a chapel speech myself. I want to be able to stand here at the end of my speech and say, yeah, I think I did a good job. But that's a lot of pressure to put on myself. And with that pressure comes a whole lot of stress. I've always been one to stress really easily, about every little thing. I'm the girl before the test who revises all her notes until the second the test starts. Trust me when I say I'm the last person you'd want to talk to before an assignment. My nerves would probably stress you out too. During an interview, I was asked, why do you choose to do the things that you do? I remember panicking. I had prepared for the questions like, what do you do in your free time? Or why would you like to attend this university? I was not expecting to do a self-psychological analysis. Thinking quick on my feet, I said something that I now don't remember, but can almost guarantee that it made no sense. I didn't get into that university. But that question really got me thinking. Why do I get so stressed out? And I don't want to sound arrogant or overly confident when I say this, but I've always worked really hard, even in year one, or I guess you all say grade one. The pressure to do so never came from my family or friends. It's just always been something that I felt, a desire to be good enough. I had set standards for myself that I could never really reach. In this overly competitive world that we live in, I sometimes felt that maybe being good wouldn't even be enough. To be considered successful, or in my case, to get into university, you have to be exceptional, unique. You have to be extraordinary. But there are 7.4 billion people in this world. The chances of being completely, independently, and surely unique are slim to nothing. How can I possibly be exceptional when there are so many others who are smarter, kinder, sportier, and better than I am? So I aimed to be the best that I could be. I tried to get the best grades possible, join sport teams, do internships, and pushed myself. Instead of thinking of myself as a person, I thought of myself as more of a combination of elements that ultimately determined my own self-worth. I had to fulfill every aspect of a well-rounded student and person. Every bad grade, every rejection, every failure made me so upset, a little too upset. And then I would get mad at myself because people always told me, Tara, grades don't matter, or it's not the end of the world. I also knew that these troubles couldn't compare to the problems the rest of the world faced. But these sayings didn't convince me. Grades did matter, involvement was key, and perfection was the goal. I couldn't risk failure because if a university was choosing between me and another student, it would give them all the more reason to send me away. I had the vision of the perfect student, and I swore to myself that I would get there. The older I got, the more important the look of my application became. I got into the unhealthy mindset of, if I get this grade, I'll be happy, or if I get into this team, then maybe I'll be happy. But there was never a solid line. The standard was here, and I was down here, and it kept moving further away. Writing this down in words almost makes it sound ridiculous, or even overly dramatic. But it was something that I felt. It was something that impacted almost all my decisions. My self-esteem relied heavily on the thoughts of others, how I ranked amongst my peers, and whether or not I met the expectations of those around me or not. As time went on, my need for approval increased. I could no longer recognize my own achievements, and compliments from anyone else meant the world to me. I was too scared of failing other people's expectations. I decided the only way of meeting them would be to lower them down. Therefore, I never told people if I was ever any good at anything, or even if I thought I did well on a test. Whenever people asked, how do you think that went? I always said, and say, I think it went okay. I thought that if I actually said, it went well, I would jinx myself. Or worse, I would actually end up doing horribly and embarrass myself. So then I guess it just became a habit. That's why I didn't want to tell people where I applied to university. I had made the very irresponsible choice of applying to about 10 reach schools and only 2 safeties. I hadn't even decided which one would be my top choice because I didn't want to end up liking one where I wouldn't get into. That was one of the best decisions I had ever made. March 30th, 2017 was an emotional roller coaster. When 5 p.m. struck, I was stuck with 4 rejection letters. All at once. It wasn't a lot of fun. Instead, it was 4 reminders that I once again was not good enough. That I not only failed to meet my own expectations, but also failed to impress the admissions directors at 4 different universities. I felt embarrassed. I had initially thought that I had gotten over the whole, my application is a complete and accurate representation of who I am mindset, but this was only last week, so I guess not. I didn't leave my room for an hour, cried for most of that time, and felt as if everything I had worked for the past 12 years of my life wasn't worth it anymore. Maybe hard work only paid off for those who really deserved it. The rejections defined me, represented the failures in my application, and therefore the faults in my own self. I went back to analyzing what went wrong. If only I had gotten better SAT scores, joined more sport teams, spent my holidays doing more internships, then maybe I could have gotten in. These seem simple, but those what-ifs kept me up all night. I should have worked harder. I wished I was better. But here's where the theme of the week ties in a little bit. Compassion. Why is it so easy for us to recognize and congratulate others' achievements, but so difficult to do so for ourselves? I don't think I had ever related to the phrase, we are our own worst critics, as much as I did during the first few months of grade 12 and a little bit of last week. The way I judged and compared myself to others diminished my own self-worth. I now know that that is never okay to do, and I'm trying my best not to do so every day. The key word here is trying. I know that it will be a long process to change this mindset, since it has been one that's shaped my entire high school experience. But I am really trying. I can't begin to describe to you how big of a difference I feel when I really let myself be proud of something while not thinking about how others did or what I haven't done. While it is vital to have compassion for those around us, it is of equal or even more importance that we gift ourselves with the same amount of love and respect. We should seek our own happiness, recognize our own achievements, and take pride in what we do. Self-compassion is not something we are often reminded of, so I'm here to remind you and myself of it today. Senior twos, we're almost there. And no matter where we end up next year, we did it. We have worked so hard, and we are exactly where we are supposed to be. Stop thinking about what you could have done and acknowledge what you have done. We are on our own personal journeys to being exceptional. Senior ones, you are about to begin the entire process of both leadership and university applications. I wish you the best of luck. And I hope my speech today reminds you to give credit to yourself, to relax and take things as they come, to reach and push yourselves, but to also cut yourself some slack. You will do amazing things. Try not to stress out too much. So for right now, I want you all to think of something you're proud of, something unresumeable, and by this I mean something you wouldn't necessarily put on your application. It could be anything. I ate a family-size packet of mini eggs all by myself last night. Fact. Or maybe on a more serious note, I was there for my friend when he or she really needed me. Do it, recognize it, and celebrate it. You are more than your application. Maybe I even am too. Now, I don't have it all figured out, but I do know this much. Being good enough isn't about meeting other people's expectations or even a specific standard. I don't know what it really means yet, but I know it will be different for each and every single one of us. I'm still trying to find my little sliver of exceptional, and I am so excited for all of you to find your own. As my speech comes to an end, I want to make a promise to myself and challenge you to never let your self-worth be determined by comparison to others and to be proud of all your accomplishments, no matter how big or small. And maybe as a first step, I'll tell you something I'm proud of right now. I just finished my chapel speech, and yeah, I think I did a good job. Thank you for listening, and now please join me in singing hymn 662.